It's important to know that we cannot control what will happen in the future, but we can actually control what's happening now. We can't control what had already happened in the past because that was the past, and the past is what makes us a stronger person. All right. So I guess I'm back. I was planning my week for next week when I go on vacation to see what's going on. What am I going to do? So I put on my calendar that vacation starts tomorrow. And then I'm going to add in what am I going to do? What am I going to eat? What am I planning to do when I get there? When am I getting there? So many things to plan. So many things to, so much headaches already. So let's start planning. So planning takes a lot of our time. We spend so many hours, so many days planning for our future, planning what we're going to do next. For example, right now, I'm already planning on what I'm going to say for the next video, but what I'm doing is that I'm not really fully engaged in the present moment, which is now. I mean, planning has its pros and cons, and a lot of times we plan so that we can be assured and we can be in control of our future. What happens when planning fails? What are we going to do when planning fails, and how do we help ourselves from overcoming those failures in order for us to be the peaceful version of ourselves? Growing up, I started planning all my life. When I was in high school, I started planning for college. When I was in college, I started planning for the life after. And when I have the life after, I have to plan for the future of my life and the person that I'm gonna be with. So when I was in a relationship, I started planning my future with the person that I was with for a while. We were talking about living together. We were talking about being with each other for a long time. We were planning to get married. We were planning to do things that every couple was gonna do. But once the pandemic hits, it was all over. The breakup happens, plans fell apart, and it was so confusing for me because everybody had to work from home. We had to move all of our work equipment home, and we had to start working from home, communicating from home, and accepting the fact that now we have to quarantine ourselves inside our house. Like, we can't go out anywhere anymore. We have to social distance ourselves from the other person, where us human beings were used to interacting with one another. Like in my other videos, I talk about, human beings always seek company from one another because loneliness will always creep up on us. Before even the relationship, I grew up with a lot of broken promises. I keep my hopes up a lot of times. When I was being promised to, for example, when I was a kid, we were promised to go to, certain theme parks. We were promised to go to certain places. But at the end, we don't really go anywhere except we just stay home. And I guess that anger started accumulate within myself. And now whenever a plan fails, I get so upset and I get so mad. And it's like the end of the world for me. I started understanding, and we should all start to understand, that plan fails majority of the time. But that doesn't mean that we can't plan. I mean, we have to plan accordingly, especially when you plan for something in advance. But be open to it. Be flexible to the fact that plans can change. For example, what if on the day of that you need to drive somewhere, your tire got a flat? So what would you do? You got to be open to it, be flexible to it, be understanding and accepting the fact that changes will happen along the way. We have to learn to accept the fact that our lives will be forever changing, and accepting change is the number one thing that we should adopt in our life, and understanding and being mindful of the fact that changes will always and forever be happening. Open to changes will help us to become the true version of ourselves and become more peaceful with ourselves. So for example, your changes in circumstances. So I had to move from Southern California to Northern California to be closer with my family so that I can start working on the relationship that I used to have with my family. I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life in Southern California, buying a house, doing this and that. And now it's everything has changed. My circumstance has changed. I had to move because rent was getting so expensive, and I had to pack my bag and start moving, and I got to get on the way and change of priority in life. Right? My priority was actually used to be with the person that I used to be with, and now my priority is actually working on myself so that I can be the true and the best version of myself. I talked about how I got into a really bad car accident in my mental health video on July 3rd. Before July 4th, I was going to drive from Southern California to Northern California to go visit my family, to surprise my family for 4th of July, because I love to be spontaneous now, because it's just fun to be spontaneous. And it's just so crazy. It happens at 7:22 p.m. where somebody was driving recklessly and hit me from behind. And that has just stopped my whole plan. And I couldn't even go anywhere for like months after that. And I had to accept that fact that circumstances had changed in my life. Now I had to stay in Southern California for a couple of months in order for me to recover from my injury, in order for me to feel better. So when we make plans, we are guessing. We are making this approximate guess of what our future self is going to be. So from now until 10 years later, I don't know what I'm going to be. I don't know how this YouTube is going to work out. I don't know how my job's going to be. We are living in an ever-changing world where everything changes every moment and every minute. Matter of fact, every second. So practice patience in your everyday life. When plan fails, just be patient with yourself. Just tell yourself that it is okay that this plan has failed, and I will have to just set up another plan and see how it's going to go. It's important to know that we cannot control what will happen in the future, but we can actually control what's happening now. We can't control what had already happened in the past because that was the past, and the past is what makes us a stronger person. Also, the past is not something that can define who we are as a person as of right now. So instead of focusing and spending too much energy on planning and focusing on the future, spend that energy on now, the now moment. Like Master Oogway said, yesterday was history, tomorrow is mystery, and today is a gift. That is why they call it the present. So focus on today. Focus on what you're going to be doing for today. Plan something out for today, so that once that has become successful, you will feel good about yourself and open to changes. What if that doesn't happen? See how you feel and tap into mindfulness and being aware of your emotion and your feelings so that you can start nurturing yourself, so that when in the future plans fails, you can tap into that emotion and understanding that, hey, the plans has failed. What can I do in order for me to be a peaceful version of myself? In order for you to be the real version of yourself, all you got to do is try.